Hey sketchy friends, so I have a question for you, or maybe two questions. Can urban sketching change your life? Can a sketchbook change your life? Kind of the same question, but I wanted to pose both of them to you. If you're new here, my name is Taria. This is my channel, Taria's Sketchy Adventures. And as 2024 kind of draws to a close, I'm certainly feeling that now because I'm off to Australia in 3 days. Then for the rest of the year into mid-January, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be teaching some workshops over there and then seeing my husband's family. We haven't been over for 5 years, so it's really exciting. But all that's to say is I feel like the year is ending now because I won't be back home for 6 weeks or so. And I've been reflecting on quite how much sketching and keeping a sketchbook, and very specifically urban sketching, really has changed my life. For those of you who are just sort of getting started with your journey, or for those of you who are midway through your journey, you might empathize with this. But it is just quite a special hobby, activity, thing to do with your time, all of those things. It's funny because I never trained in art, and I've always said this, so a lot of you will know this already, but I've never had any formal art training. I did art up to like the end of secondary school, so 16 years old. Yeah, I just had no aspirations to really be an artist. In fact, I just left school quite deflated with art. I could kind of draw. I was like reasonable, I was like mediocre in comparison to, you know, the people in my school class. But I just didn't get it. Like it just didn't click for me. And yeah, so that was that. But in my late 20s, something just changed. I just really, really wanted to learn to draw. I think I just wanted to like design a few things, which I've spoken about in another video, but I knew that the basis of that was learning how to draw. Even though YouTube very much did exist when I was in my late 20s, about 10, 15 years ago, I bought a book. And that was the Keys to Drawing, which I'll put up on the screen now. And I worked my way through it. I did all of the exercises, which is extremely unlike me, to be honest with you. I must have been very disciplined with myself at that point in time. So I worked through that and it was great. But there's, you know, only so much pencil drawing of still life stuff that I could really get behind. You know, as I knew it was the building blocks, or I assumed it was the building blocks to learning how to get started. But I like really wanted to do something more interesting. So yeah, I got distracted by a lot of shiny objects along the way, and I still am, i.e. silversmithing and tattooing and those things. Once I discovered that there was this thing that people traveled and captured their travels in their sketchbooks, I was like blown away. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is what I want to do. This is really, really cool. That led me down that path, and it wasn't until I really tried to actually focus on that and I sort of stopped messing around with acrylics and murals and like all the other amazing things you can do in this whole art, design, craft world, which I'm sure all of you have like multiple hobbies in that area. Once I decided to focus on travel sketching in ink and watercolor very specifically, that's when everything started to change for me. And I saved up really, really, really hard. I think this was in 2016, and I left my job. I didn't have any commitments, no partner, children, mortgage, anything like that. So I knew I could do it. I saved up all my money and I just went away by myself for a few months, and I went and traveled around Mexico, Central America. Not saying that anyone needs to do that, by the way, because I know that upsets people sometimes. Like, oh, how could you have done that? Blah, blah, blah. It's like I was literally hit 30 and I basically had a meltdown. So that's my whole eat, pray, draw story. Yeah, I just committed to drawing something every single day. One thing every single day, whether it was the plane that I took to go off on my journey, the rusty VW camper vans that were parked outside of the hostel, you know, so on and so forth. Just one thing every single day. And if you want to see those sketches, that was my very first YouTube video. And so you can see that sketchbook from Mexico and Central America and every single one of those sketches in that video. And you'll see like how far I've come. That was in 2017. We're now in 2024, end of 2024. Things have developed like significantly from there because I've just kept going. There's no magic. Like there's tips and tricks and strategies, of course, that you learn, but it's all just over time. There's just no magic to it. It's just you keep doing it because you love it. If you want to actually see those sketches and then my subsequent sketches from traveling to other parts of the world like Iran and Somalia and Ethiopia and like other places, I do have all of that in one ebook, and you'll be able to see the progression over time, which I think is quite interesting. So if you want to see that, I'll leave the link in the description below. So from then on, something very magical started to happen when I was drawing on my travels, and I was kind of trying to shield myself because I didn't feel like I was very good and whatever. But people would come and speak to me and they'd look over my shoulder, and you do just have to get used to that. But, you know, every single person would always be like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I wish I could do that. I can't even draw a straight line. I can't even draw a stick man. Or they want to tell you about their mum, dad, daughter, son, auntie, uncle, cousin twice removed that's an artist, and like, surely you must know them because you also do art. And it's just really fun though. You have some really amazing chats, and I can still remember key strangers that I met in various parts of the world that would just come and speak to me just because I was doing something in public, like drawing in a sketchbook. It kind of just invites those conversations. As being a massive introvert, which, you know, is not a bad thing at all, but I am quite shy. Those kinds of situations did really scare me to start with. But over time, I've got used to it. And in fact, now it's one of my favorite things is when I engage with someone I don't know over something like drawing, and then you start having like these really cool conversations. It's just really, really lovely. When I was in Iran, I had a guide there. And again, I'd be doing my sort of surreptitious drawings whenever there was time, because I was with a few other people as well. And I was drawing my breakfast one day, I think, and he came over and was looking over my shoulder, and he was like, wow, what is this? Like, what's going on here? And so then I started showing him my sketchbook that I'd been keeping along the journey. And he was like, there's just something about these sketches. They just make me smile. And again, they weren't the best, you know what I mean? They were just like very normal, whatever, you know, back in 2018. So I wasn't very like particularly good or anything, but he just looked at them and he saw his country through my eyes or through my drawing. He just said it made him smile. And I think to this day, that's just one of the best things that anyone's ever said to me. So sketching, and specifically urban sketching, has actually helped me settle into a new city, in a new country. Nearly all of my initial friends settling here in Johannesburg, South Africa, are through urban sketching. And now I know people across the country because of urban sketching, which is amazing. And now I have friends all over the world that I can actually contact and be like, I'm going to be where you are. Can I come and sketch with you? Or is there a sketching thing going on? 9 times out of 10, even if there's not a sketching thing going on, they'll organize something. So, you know, you've got a ready-made friendship group. So for example, I'm going to Australia on Wednesday, and I messaged some people that I met at the symposium in New Zealand in 2023. And they were like, well, there might not be anything going on, but like, we'd love to see you. So we'll organize something. Like, that's just really, really special. And I've just made so many amazing friends just from attending urban sketching events, or even just through the internet, through Instagram. So I made a friend here in South Africa called Yvonne, who's a great artist. We just met through Instagram. And then eventually we met in real life after like 2 or 3 years. And I went and stayed with her and her husband. Me and my husband went and stayed with her. So it was just like, when does that happen, you know? So yeah, big shout out to all the friends that I've made along the way so far from multiple different countries. Also, hey to all my students all over the globe as well, because now I get to pass on everything that I've learned over the years to people just getting into urban sketching and travel sketching. And that's my passion, is to share as much as I can with everyone to make your journey that little bit easier, that little bit quicker. So that being said, I do have a course, Sketchy Adventures. It's been around for a couple of years now, but I do really believe in that course as a really great gateway to learn this kind of quirky, interesting ink and watercolor sketching. So it's all done from photos, but the 3 modules get you going from like fairly easy thing to draw through to quite a more complicated thing to draw. And then it's a great groundwork to go on and get even more complicated. But it's more about the style of the sketching and the ink and the watercolor and making super bright, contrasty, fun sketches. So yeah, if you want to come and check that out, the link is in the description below, and I'm available all the time on email to help you with anything you need as well. All that's to say, guys, is that drawing in a sketchbook really has changed my life. It's what I do for relaxation and leisure. It's what I do for a job. It's how I make friends. It's how I interact with the world. It's changed how I travel. It's changed how I see the world. I just can't think of any other aspect of my life that it really hasn't touched. So if you're still in that kind of zone of like watching videos and sort of thinking, oh, I'd like to get into this, please just take the plunge, just do it, get out there, go to your local urban sketching chapter if you've got one near you, or try and find some other people that would be up for drawing outside on location, or inside on location. I know it's winter over there for you Northern Hemisphere folk. Just get going, because everyone in this scene, if I have to call it that, is just so lovely, so welcoming. Everyone wants everyone to succeed and just enjoy themselves, because then we have more and more people that we can interact with across the world and just share the joy of drawing, the joy of urban sketching, the joy of travel sketching, and all of that good stuff. So I really hope this video has been inspirational. That's been the whole point behind it. Please do check out those links below. If I don't see you before, because I am going to be traveling, have a wonderful festive season, wonderful new year. I may be back before then, but if not, I'll see you guys in January 2025.